the other thing that I do is also I'm a space artist, and that's where I sort of live vicariously. I always wanted to be an astronaut. You know, we were at a conference here where Neil Armstrong was gracious enough to share his experiences as an X-15 pilot. And I think a lot of people were reminded of how they got into the industry because of Neil Armstrong, among others who braved the black void. So I was reminded that as well. However, I'm not inclined to be a mathematician or a physicist or anything like that, and I'm just not wired that way. But as I got older, I realized I could contribute in different ways. I can contribute in terms of policy analysis, market analysis, but more importantly, as it evolved over time, as a space artist, because the arts are such a wonderful tool to communicate really complex ideas, and outer space is a complex thing for people to grasp because it's so exotic. It's sort of always perceived as the realm of the gods, the realm of excellence, and for a lot of people they aren't part of that. Well, in reality they can be, and that's why I'm in the industry, actually. It's inspiring, and I hope to find opportunities to help inspire other people in that way.
Well, the arts is a form of narrative, and some people say that the narrative is as important, if not more important, than the reality in terms of the space of where we're going with it.
Oh, I totally agree about that. It's interesting because I had thought about this for some time when I was asked to do a briefing about putting what's going on in the space industry several years ago into context, because for a lot of people, for instance, with the retirement of the space shuttle, there's a lot of assumptions made that things are shutting down, that we've lost our mojo, if you will, in the United States and so forth. But if you look at it from the big picture, and space inspires you to do that, actually across billions of years and billions of light years. I know that's usually attributed to Dr. Carl Sagan using the billions and billions, and here I am doing that. But the nice thing about that is you can put Jules Verne into context. You can put Galilei into context, as well as Tsiolkovsky, Hermann Oberth, and so forth. And there's a story that's told, and one thing you realize is the artists play a significant role in helping to lay out the stage, if you will, for what could come next, which is, for instance, in 1865 with Verne's From the Earth to the Moon, it starts to explain space as a place where you could have human interaction, stories told. And over a period of time, as technologies developed and so forth, certain individuals began to use that as a starting point for inspiration. And they design rockets, and they design vehicles that can traverse through space. And it occurred to me that that's the role of the artist, is to keep that going, to help. It's kind of like science fiction authors, anybody like that, musicians, and they help sow the seeds, if you will, for those that have the capability to, as mathematicians, physicists, and engineers, to put these things into reality. So I'm happy about that, whereas before I just thought what I did was frivolous. Now I think there's an important role to play there.
What media do you work in?
That's a good question, because I've found that there isn't a preferred media, preferred medium that I use. It used to be exclusively pencil and graphite sketching. Then I graduated to, or moved on to acrylics and oils. I also do scale model design and construction. So it's kind of whatever I'm in the mood for. And it's always, the motivation is to try to capture the essence of what it is that this thing makes me feel inside. It's funny because my mother asked me, quite randomly actually, why I have an interest in space. Because when she looks up into the night sky, she sees stars, and it doesn't do anything to her. Quite similarly, I suppose, if I were to see the horizon of the ocean and a sailor were to tell me, can you hear the call of the sea? I really don't. But when I do see the stars in space, I I feel something, and it was an important question that she asked me because I'm trying to, why do you have a passion for something? That's an important question to ask internally, and I asked myself that, and the art helps to articulate that better than English ever could, if that makes sense. And so the media changes according to the mood or the feeling that I have about space.